Most people feel Daniels is going to go 2.
Great.
But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean most
You're
people.
that far out on Daniels?
I'm not out on him.
Yeah,
I'm
not out on him.
I'm not at all. If they got Jaden Daniels, I'd be happy with that too.
Yeah.
I'd be happier with Drake Maye.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, Ryan, think that it's 2 for Daniels because of Cliff Kingsbury and his penchant for wanting to work with that style of quarterback. He's done it in the past, had some success with it, and I think that's why a lot of people have made that connection. But I don't think that everybody thinks. I think you can ask anybody. This clip that we just had, is obviously strong Drake Maye. I've heard some, brutal takedowns of Drake Maye too. That's what I don't really understand.
You know who took him down this week?
Who?
Chris Sims did, which made me feel great. Makes me feel wonderful about the chances of him landing here and being great.
Yeah, I don't necessarily worry about the individual who's saying it as much because I just don't know how you can watch a guy. 2 people can watch the same guy and have such opposite opinions. Like, I get it. Like, this guy is really enamored with his risk-taking and his keeping his eyes downfield, making big plays. I like that too. And I understand that someone else might like sort of the game manager approach of, check it down, be safe, move the chains, don't put the ball in harm's way. But how can you just think one guy can't play and the other guy is great when they're the same player? That I don't get, and that happens every year. Ryan talked about it last segment, the 4-5 to the 4-6, and all of a sudden this guy's a 4th rounder. Well, did he produce? I mean, can he play or can he not play?
So the last time the Patriots were in this spot was 31 years ago. And I would say, Paul, locally, us being as invested in this stupid, silly yearly draft process, I think we should like to do this about once every 3 decades. That sounds about right.
Like I said,
I don't want to
show since November.
I don't want to do this again for in my lifetime. Really, I'm good. Like, let's not do this again. We don't have to do this again.
Yeah.
Where we talk about the quarterbacks for 3 months.
What, you don't want to be doing this again next year?
Nope.
You sure?
Nope. I don't want to do that.
It's so much fun.
But when you compare those 2 guys, Jaden Daniels and you're talking about Drake Maye, I would say Jaden Daniels in the short term will produce better results for the team that drafts him. I think out of the gate, Jaden Daniels might be better.
Yeah. Do you remember, any of the early games last year that the Colts played with Anthony Richardson?
Yes.
That's what I think Jaden Daniels can be right away. Like
right.
Richardson made some plays. He
did.
wasn't over his head. He ran around. He was billed as an explosive athlete. That's what he was before he got hurt.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would have translated to a lot of wins. I don't know how the passing would have gone along with it. Now, I think Jaden Daniels is a better passer coming out of LSU than Richardson was. But so it's an imperfect comparison. But yeah, I could absolutely see Daniels going to Washington, playing and having some success, running around, making some big plays, some wild plays that we end up talking about on Mondays.
If you're worried about the next 2 years, draft Jaden Williams. If you're worried about the next 10, take the shot at Drake Maye. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I like Maye a lot. One thing that's strange to me, and we haven't talked about him at all, is the Michael Penix thing.
Well, that's what I was going to get to next, and that is, can we read into the fact that they are not apparently in on him or not having a visit?
I read into it.
Okay.
Like they had 9 guys at pro days for Daniels and Maye, and I think Cameron Williams went to Penix. I'm not telling you that means they're out. If you asked me, watching all these guys, who throws the ball the best, it's Penix.
Zoe would agree with you.
I think you have to turn into a scout now, Ryan. He's the best thrower of the football. You can't say passer because that makes you a dweeb. You're not really with it. It's like you watch him just sort of operate from the pocket. I don't think there's a better passer in the draft, but there's a lot of other things that go into it, not the least of which are his injury history with the shoulders and the knees, and I don't think he moves around all that well. So you're kind of looking at a pocket passer, and his athleticism tested. His pro day athleticism, it was there. I think he tested a little bit better athletically than a lot of people thought. But if you just want an old school passer, I think he might be the best one in the draft.
I would not blame them for wanting to pass due to the injury history because this is too important of a time for them.
You can't take him at 3.
No, not even at 3, but just to make him the quarterback they come out of this draft with. or if they say to themselves, we're coming out of this draft with a quarterback, we don't want to take the risk with Penix because of the injury history, because we can't afford to have it blow up in our face if the guy has another ACL tear or another shoulder injury or can't just stay healthy and stay on the field. He has a long injury history, as we know.
Well, and you've also got offensive line issues. And so if you're going to get a guy who's a sitting duck back there, as a rookie, he's going to get teed off on. You're definitely worried about injuries in that scenario.
I mean, he can play.
Oh, he's got ability.
And what I really liked about watching Washington a little bit, down the stretch when they had their important games, and I'm not even just talking about the playoff games, but they're at Oregon State late season game that they had to have. They're nursing a lead at the end of the game. They're not handing the ball off 3 times, punting and relying on defense. It's 3rd and 7, and they're dropping Penix back and having him win the game with a throw for a first down. I like that kind of stuff. I like when you see the coaching staff has the confidence to put it on Penix's shoulders and he's coming through like that. And that's what kind of worries me about J.J. McCarthy, Beetle, because we never got a chance to see that really from McCarthy. He was always handing the ball off and playing defense and doing the game manager thing. I'm not telling you he can't do it. Just telling you we didn't really get a chance to see him do it.
That was Nate Tice, by the way, at the start of the segment. He loves Drake Maye, and we've had other people, as I mentioned, not love Drake Maye. Chris Sims has him as the 6th best quarterback in the draft. 6th.
Yeah, he's a project. Talented project.
Talent is the key. Get the talent.
I this is unfair to put on these kids, and I know everybody's doing it. It's Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels and what they have, right? To me, Caleb Williams is Patrick Mahomes-like. He's going to run around. He's going to make throws from odd angles and try to make big plays. Daniels is like Lamar Jackson. He comes into the league really as a run-first kind of a guy who can throw. And I think Drake Maye is Josh Allen. I think he's wild with his mechanics. I think his accuracy leaves him at times, but he's got great size, great strength, and great running ability. And I think if you can sort of hone the mechanics, you can have something like the Bills have with Josh Allen.
Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.